What is up, YouTube? It's Super Indo here, and I'm back with another Dark and Darker video. Today, this video is going to be about a Q&A that took place between the Dark and Darker Discord community and an Ironmace developer known as SDF. So a few things that I'm going to cover in this video are going to be some of the game content that was discussed, but also what I believe to be signs of some buffs and some nerfs to certain classes. So with that being said, let's talk about it. All right, guys, first things first, I just want to mention that these are not all the things that were covered in the Q&A with Ironmace dev SDF. These are just some of the big takeaways that I felt were important. So let's get started. So here's some game content that was discussed. The Ruin map will be available in the next playtest. So that is going to be the new map, or the first level that you spawn on. And then the second level, which is the current level that we've all been spawning on, the Forgotten Castles. And then the third level, or the level below that, is going to be the Inferno. SDF also mentioned saying that the Goblin Caves were a success. I think this is great for solo players. I think this translates to them creating more solo player content. Cyclical or cyclical wipes, however you want to pronounce it, was confirmed. And this is always nice because it says this helps keep the player base numbers up. This is great news. Early access is expected to release shortly after the next playtest. This is bad news. SDF made it seem like the Bard is still under development and that we will not likely be seeing the Bard in the next playtest. I know there's a lot of people out there hoping the Bard would make it. Doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. Next, there is going to be no talent tree. SDF mentioned that they are prioritizing perks and skills. Questing also did not make it to the playtest in April. And SDF was asked quite a few questions regarding cheating, and I think we all know why. With everything going on in the Tarkov community, if you don't know what I'm talking about or what I'm referring to, do a quick YouTube search of the Tarkov wiggle, and you could go down that rabbit hole yourself. So he did mention saying that the devs are more than capable of creating a kernel level or some sort of kernel level modules that could help with anti-cheating, nor did SDF specify whether that was the way that they were gonna go. So with that being said, I felt like those are the main takeaways from the game content. Now let's move on over to what I believe are gonna be some of the buffs and some of the nerfs coming in the next playtest. All right, so now let's talk about some of the nerfs and buffs that I believe are gonna be coming to the next playtest based off the discussion that was taking place during the Q&A with Ironmace SDF. First off, the buffs, and let's talk about the rogue class. One-handed crossbows are confirmed, and I'm going to say it's going to be pretty safe to assume rogues can equip them just based off of D&D lore. So that's going to be pretty interesting. Secondly, rogues are going to be able to pickpocket while hidden and invisible. And SDF also mentioned that they wanted to make the rogues more diverse and lethal overall. Sounds like rogues are going to be getting a buff. Secondly, fighters will be receiving new perks and skills. SDF didn't really mention whether it was just fighters that were going to get perks and skills or other classes were also going to get them, but we'll see what happens. Thirdly, wizards, SDF mentioned that there's going to be no major changes, but they will receive a few tweaks. And SDF made it seem as if the tweaks are going to be more towards the buff side, not the nerf side. Now, speaking of nerfs, let's start talking about the nerfs that I think will be coming to the next playtest. So when asked about the Barbarian, SDF said that overall the team was moderately satisfied with how the Barbarians performed, but there were some aspects of their gameplay that were unexpectedly strong and they will balance. Now, is SDF referring to Francisca Axes? I don't know, but I have a feeling that is the case, but we'll see. And the next one comes to a surprise. I don't think anyone saw this coming, but SDF mentioned that Rangers will be getting an arrow. And it was later clarified in a later post from Ironmace that Rangers will no longer be able to spam arrows and they'll be getting an ammunition count. So most people see this as a nerf And I do, in the current state, see it as a nerf. But ask yourself this question. What if blue rarity arrows become a thing? Let me know what you think about that down in the comments. With that being said, these are the nerfs and the buffs that I was able to pull together based off the discussion that happened today with SDF. All right, so that brings us to another end of another dark and darker video. And I just want to let everyone know, thank you for showing me support on YouTube, showing me support on Reddit, and partaking in the discussion on both Reddit and down below in the comments. If you guys have not yet already subscribed, please do so. I plan on putting out more dark and darker content. And like always, life is too short. Tell more than one loved one you love them. And everyone, have a good night.